It says, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, because her parents were put to death, in the war. And she shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put the remnant of her captivity off her, and shall remain in thine house. Now remember, she doesn't have a choice in the matter. If she gives you a hard time, you hold her down, you shave her head, or you have your servant shave her head, you pare her nails, you take off those clothes, you put on other clothes, and you deal with her. But there's a period of a month, a 30-day month period, where you don't rape her. You got to wait and let her mourn for her parents. It says, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. So this is the law, how we treat. The Most High gave us laws in how to treat the other nations. You got to give them a chance to mourn. It says a full month, and after that thou shalt go in unto her. What does that mean? Have sex with her, this woman of another nation, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife, whether she likes it or not. And that's all the nations did that. When they took down another nation, they spared the woman, and they had sex with the woman and had children with the woman. There's a story about the Moors in Sicily and other areas of Europe and this was the Sicilian woman that told me this story, that the Moors, when they came down, they killed all the men, and some of the men escaped, of course, but for the most part, they killed all the men in Sicily, and they raped the women. Now, in what is this other place? I believe it's Sardinia, which is another island below south of Italy. Was it Sardinia? I believe it's Sardinia. And there was another one called I forget the names, but I believe it's Sardinia. Well, one of them, by the way, has a flag with 4 Moors on it, which are so-called black men, because the Moors took them over. And what did they do to the women? They popped the women. That's why, a lot of southern Italians can pass for Puerto Ricans or Dominicans or whatever. Anyway, it says, and she shall put the remnant of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month, and after that thou shalt go into her, meaning pop her, have sex with her, whether she likes it or not, because she's here to stay. She better get used to it. And after you pop her a couple of times, inside joke, she'll know that she's home, and then she's gonna have children, and of course she's gonna love those children because those children came out of her. And of course she's gonna have to learn how to speak Hebrew. When we came over here to the Americas against our will to learn slavery, did Esau say, oh, y'all can keep speaking Hebrew? No, you had to forget about Hebrew. You had to learn English. And be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. So if you have a woman, of course you're going to have children. Let me see if there's any more I got to go to. Oh, 14 verse. Same chapter, Deuteronomy 21 verse 14. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her. Now in the case of an Israelite woman, if you force yourself on an Israelite woman pursuant to Deuteronomy the 22nd chapter, you have to give the father 50 shekels of silver. She becomes your wife, and you cannot put her away. You cannot put her away. So when you're thinking about taking a woman and humbling a woman by force, you better consider the fact that if she's an Israelite woman, you got to give up 50 shekels to the father, and she becomes your wife forever. Now, in the case of another nation, you can put that woman away, but you can't sell her or make merchandise of her. Let's read on. It says, and it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, if and that happened to all of us, man. You deal with certain women that you into, then all of a sudden you ain't feeling her no more. And women think that way to men too. The feeling, the thrill is gone, so to speak. So the same thing here. You don't like the way she moves, whatever the case may be. It says, 14 verse again, and it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will. Just go ahead, go your way. But thou shalt not sell her at all for money. So we know that this is not talking about an Israelite woman. So your General Yohanan was wrong on this one. Thou shalt not make merchandise of her, sell her, because thou hast humbled her. So when you look that word up, humbled, let's look it up. Aina, which means to be occupied, be bruised with, afflict, oppress, humble, be afflicted, to bow down, to be put down, become low, to be depressed, to downcast, to be afflicted. So what does it mean that you afflicted her? That means you force yourself on that woman. But pursuant to the law, it was all right. Now that word Ainah is also in Deuteronomy, the 22nd chapter. So now let's come back. Okay, so now let's go from here to Numbers 31. Again, you can read the whole chapter if you like, but I'm going to go to, let me start the first verse and I'll jump around. Numbers 31 verse 1, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites. The Midianites is obviously another nation. Afterward shalt thou be gathered unto thy people. Third verse, and Moses spake to the people, saying, arm some of yourselves unto war, and let them go against the Midianites, another nation, and avenge the Lord of Midian. Now check this out. You had Levites and you had all the tribes. At this particular time, all the tribes were going out, and all the men of the various tribes, not just Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh. You had Levi in the war. You had, and when that shows you, man, that Levi are warriors, man. A lot of these Jake boxers that you see, you'd be surprised. A lot of them are Levites. Man. I can't think of any. What's this guy? Damn. You would think he's a Jake. He's from either like Philly. Damn, if I knew his name. The dude, he got the high top fade, dark skinned brother. I forget the brother's name, but you got Andre Berto. You got a lot of Israelite. You got a lot of boxers out there that are actually Levites. Oh, Floyd Mayweather is a Benjaminite, and he said that in the video. He went to a Benjaminite restaurant. He said, I got Jamaican in my family. So Floyd is not a Judite. Floyd is a Benjaminite. This brother that just fought Errol Spencer's a Benjaminite. So all the tribes are warriors. Anyway, it says, Numbers 31 verse 3, it says, and Moses spake to the people, saying, arm some of yourself unto war, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian. 4th verse. And every tribe, 1,000 throughout all the tribes of Israel, throughout all the tribes. Asher, Issachar. Issachar are warriors, man. They right up there with Jake. Shall ye send to the war? So there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. So that's all the tribes. It says, and Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, from them, and Phinehas the son of Eleazar the priest to the war. Levites were in the midst of the other tribes when they were warring. And there's certain accounts where they were playing music while they were chopping people's head off. And that's why when Jake come into the arena, what they got to play? They got to play music. They ain't just going to walk in there with no music. They got to play music, man. When Issachar come up in there, they got to play that music. The Muay Thai fighters, when they fighting, they playing music. And the Muay Thai fighters, them people of Thailand, are straight up Jakes. It says to the war with the holy instruments, and the trumpets to blow in his hand. So while they were chopping heads, the Levites were singing and playing instruments. It says in 7th verse, and they warred against the Midianites as the Lord commanded, as Yahweh commanded Moses, and they slew all the males. They didn't get the females, they slew all the males, and there was a reason behind that. And they slew the kings of Midian beside the rest of them. They were slain, namely Evi and Rechem and Zur and Hur and Reba, 5 kings of Midian, Balaam also the son of Beor. They slew with the sword. They chopped their heads off. 9th verse. And the children of Israel took all the women of Midian captives. Why did you think they did that? We just read that in Deuteronomy 21 and 10 on down. And their little ones, their children. Now you're going to find out Moses is going to get mad at them for not slaying a woman. But Moses said, keep the children. Why did Moses say keep the children? Because the young boys will become slaves, and the young women of the Midianites will become their wives or their concubines. It says, and took the spoil of their cattle and all their flocks for what? To eat. If they had horses, they took them. That became their horse. And all their goods. And they burnt all their cities wherein they dwelt, because they're going to build new cities. And all their goodly castles with fire. And they took all the spoil and all the prey, both of men and beasts. And they brought the captives and the prey and the spoil, and Moses and Eleazar the priest, and unto the congregation of the children of Israel, unto the camp of the plain of Moab, which are by Jordan near Jericho.